Synthetic Cubism is the name of the second phase of Cubism, generally considered to run from about 1912 to 1914. It is characterized by simpler shapes, brighter colors, and little to no depth. One of the major achievements of synthetic cubism was the collage, which was incorporated into paintings. Collage comes from the French word for to glue or coller. It describes an artwork that has things glued to its surface, such as colored paper, a piece of vinyl, small objects, fabric, or other materials. The work that brought about the shift from analytical to synthetic cubism was Pablo Picasso's still life with chair caning from 1912. At first glance, this work seems like a mishmash of forms instead of a clear picture. We see a knife, some fruit, a bottle and wine glass, a napkin. At the top of the work, we can see the letters Jou appear, which might stand for journal, the French word for newspaper. Jou can also stand for jouer, meaning to play. A pipe lays across the paper. Picasso even created a frame by gluing down a piece of rope on the outside of the oval. How did it come to this? During the summer of 1912, Georges Braque spent his holiday in Provence and wandered into a hardware store. He bought a roll of oilcloth, the kind you would use to line a kitchen cabinet. It had a fake wood pattern. He used this material to make up the body of a guitar in one of his paintings. Picasso was not far behind him, but it was Braque who came up with the idea of the collage. What's important here is that both artists took Cubism into the third dimension. They added stuff that stuck out of the flat parts of the canvas, which means that they breached the barrier to sculpture. We will find sculptural work by Cubist artists shortly. They glued things from real life onto their artworks, and thus created a total interpenetration of life and art. Georges Braque came up with papier collé, or pasted papers, which is essentially a collage only involving papers, no canvas or other materials. Braque's first papier collé was a work called Fruit, Dish and Glass from 1912. Here he replaced the oilcloth with faux wood paper and combined it with the charcoal drawing of a still life that, according to the words ale and bar written at the fringes, is set in the familiar world of the café. Thus, an otherwise monochrome composition is introduced with color. Soon, Picasso, who regarded anybody's idea fair game for stealing, began working in this new technique. But his works are markedly different from Braque's in that they reveal his temperament. Braque's works are elegant and coordinated, while Picasso's are colorful, display various materials and irony, as well as spatial acrobatics. One of his earliest works is Guitar, Sheet Music, and Wine Glass from 1912. A decorative wallpaper is the background and implies that the guitar is hanging on a wall. The simulated wood grain here is actually painted and then cut out and glued onto the composition as part of the guitar. Other papers, some of them colored, complete the appearance of the instrument. The charcoal drawing on the right shows a glass. In a next step, an actual newspaper clipping as well as sheet music are added. The newspaper headline reads, La bataille s'est engagée, which means the battle is joined. The actual newspaper headline refers to the First Balkan War. With this lettering, Picasso conveys an ironic dual message. It might be an invitation to Braque to join him in his artistic challenge. It is his en garde battle cry. In October 1912, Pablo Picasso makes a maquette for guitar. Here, Picasso, who was not trained as a sculptor, takes synthetic cubism into the third dimension and makes a guitar out of cardboard, string, and wire. The body of the box is sewn together. The sound hole is made from a cardboard cylinder. The edges are a little jagged. The glue shows. The strings are imperfectly tied, but precisely this imperfection contributes to the magical character of this object, which is made out of scraps laying around in Picasso's studio. In Picasso's card player from 1913 to 1914, color is reintroduced. We see a mustached card player by a wooden table, on which are 3 playing cards. Behind him is a collapsing wainscoting. Picasso is playing with color and space again. In 1914, Picasso took another stab at sculpture in the absinthe glass. His life-size rendering of a glass of alcohol was shockingly banal. Cast in bronze in an edition of 6 and then hand-painted, this hybrid between the actual glass and the melting face of a drunken victim of this potent alcohol contains an actual absinthe spoon. This slotted instrument would be placed on top of the glass and hold a sugar cube. The lighted alcohol would be poured over it. Part of the spectacle was to watch the sugar drip into the glass. In Picasso's green still life from 1914, we can see the artist's sheer delight about color and playfulness that was missing for so long during the years of analytical cubism. This phase in Picasso's oeuvre has sometimes been called his decorative phase or Rococo cubism. The composition exists in an open space, includes bright dots of color that shine like sequins. The entire background is emerald green, with which all objects are infiltrated. The work exudes calm and happy domesticity. But this tranquility was soon shattered. In the summer of 1914, World War I was declared. Braque, as well as many of his friends, were drafted for military service, and one of the greatest artistic collaborations of all time came to an abrupt end. Both Braque and Picasso would from now on proceed on different paths in their artistic lives.